Hello lovelies! Some of you might notice that I have 2 little children. I mean 3, sorry Turbo. There's a snail called Turbo that I don't like to exclude, so apologies. The names are Gecko and Warthog. Thank you so much Brandenburg for giving them to me as a birthday present. It was really kind of you. It also made me rather late for my party because it was very hard to remove myself from my babies. On a totally unrelated note, friends with benefits. I suppose you could relate it though because I did see these 2. I don't know what was I trying to do there? They were kufuffeling, that's what we say in South Africa when you're like kissing and doing stuff. So they were just fooling around as friends, and the 2 of them are not getting emotionally involved just yet, so it relates. Let me know if they do anything weird. I thought it'd be great to cover this topic because a lot of people, especially in their 20s, go through friends with benefit situations. If you haven't, then maybe you know a friend who has. It's just a very common thing because people in their 20s aren't always emotionally ready for real relationships and attachment, and it's not to say that people who are older don't. It's just very common when you're younger. Before you go ahead and experiment, I thought it would be fun just to talk to you about the pros and cons and things that you must just consider before going ahead and getting naked with your friend. I looked in the Urban Dictionary and it said that it's 2 good friends who have a sexual relationship without being emotionally involved. Now, I don't think it's as black and white as that because it's very difficult not to be emotionally involved when you know. But I suppose that's what the intention is. So I'm going to start off with the pros and then we'll move on to cons. And then by the end of this video, hopefully you will be able to have some sort of decision made in your head about whether or not you'd like to So I think one big pro is if you're not really ready for a relationship, doing the whole friends with benefits thing is kind of like dipping your toe in the water but not getting in for a swim. Another metaphor is like going window shopping and maybe even going inside and trying on that dress. When you put it on, you're like, don't know if it really fits me. Being able to try things out, but that is very dangerous. What happens if you try it on and you really love it? You want to buy that dress but you don't have enough money. Okay, next pro. The whole thing about wanting to experiment while you're young. I don't want to be tied down to one relationship my whole life or just a string of relationships. I want to be able to explore my sexuality and not be put in a relationship box. When I was in university, I had this friend that I personally just never ever wanted to be in a relationship with. I just knew 100% it would never work. It was just for the fun of it. But there was definitely some conflict that we both had to go through, and we didn't get off scot-free, but it was a situation, something that I was experimenting with, which I'm glad I did because I learned from it and I realized, I don't know, friends with benefits just wasn't my thing. Moving on to cons, because I don't have that many pros clearly. If you have a pro that I haven't thought about, please comment below and we can have a conversation about it. Cons. You're having all this fun and all of a sudden this little thing called attachment creeps up on you like a net. Fish? Like a net. And you're stuck and you can't break free and it's very painful. The next one is another thing that I wrote here as a con, which is kind of embarrassing and it's more like a personal one to me, but it's hard explaining that you're in a friends with benefits relationship to your parents. I mean, how do they understand? Hi mom, guess what? I want to bring my friend over, but you know, later on we might go out together and then he's going to be taking me. Oh no, we're not dating, no, we're just friends with benefits. Like, the benefits? Well, probably won't even be telling your parents about it, but just like, let's say you had a mom like mine who wanted to know about your love life and you had to tell her hesitantly that you've got a friend who you... Here's a real con that I believe is important to explain, and that is the difficulty coming up with boundaries and sticking to them. Something that you need to sit down and discuss with your friend. Sometimes when things are not discussed, you can move into uncharted territories that you might not necessarily want to be in. Another con that I would find a con, if you're just friends with benefits, then you can't be upset if that person's doing the same thing with others. If you're not in a committed relationship with him, then why would he have to be in a committed relationship with you? If you're completely confident and very happy for him to do so, or her, sorry I keep saying him, it's just what I naturally would think of, then that's fine. It's not such a con for you, but it would be a con for me, and it'd probably be a con for lots of people. Another con is the lack of safety, and that is not knowing what he or she is doing with others, and of course sexual health. Basically need to have open conversations about it and make sure that you both get regularly tested or checked up, and obviously use the protection that you need to be using. The next con is about you and your friend and your friendship. The minute you do something with that friend, the friendship will change. It is possible, but it would be very hard to bounce back to exactly how you were, you know, when you were just friends. Depending on what you want from life, let's say you actually do want to be in a relationship but you just can't find anyone, so right now you'll just settle for your friend. You are actually missing out on potential partners or suitors or whatever you like to call them who could actually be 100% right for you. And let's just face it, the guy that you're having sexual relations with who's just your friend, that person is clearly not suited for you, and there are plenty out there who would be, and you're just missing out on them with that one. So just consider that. Right, so now you know the pros and cons. Let's just say you have decided to take that leap of faith and you do want to start something up with your friend. I just want to give you a few tips and tricks to help you along your way. You've got to be prepared for things to change. It's not going to stay the same. You're not going to always feel that excitement of that first time you kissed your friend. It's going to move along. It's going to become more complicated. So you've got to be willing to change and live and just adapt and go through the emotions as they come. Make sure you're not hurting others around you. If you've got a best friend who's absolutely in love with your friend who you're about to do things with, don't do things with that person. No, it might be hard, you might be tempted. It's just not good karma. I think maybe something like a safety word could be great. You know, if something starts to get out of hand, you have a safety word like Chinese fish. Don't know where that came from. I think it's important to know what you really want and not to settle for anything less. So if what you really, really want is to try this thing out with your friend, then go for it. But if you're not that comfortable and you're kind of settling, reconsider. Life is about trying new things and doing what you think is right, but it's also about knowing when to hold back when you have a gut feeling that something could go wrong. So make the right decision and don't rush into anything you're not 100% comfortable with. That is what I gotta say. That is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye! Say bye, fishies. Bye! Andrew and I decided that we were going to do each other's hair and put each other to a little bit of a challenge because neither of us are hairdressers and both of us want to restyle our hair.